Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 407, and today we're doing battle with Neeko Teemo. And so this is our second day of battles in this new format, this Heart of the Huntress standard. Been having loads of fun and a very exciting time to be out here playing the Legends of Runeterra. And so, Neeko, I did want to take a moment to talk about her for just a second before we get into the actual deck list itself. In our previous video, I was a little confused about how Neeko would work in terms of her level up condition being attached to an attack ability, and then her level 2 ability also being attached to an attack ability. So to me, it wasn't clear if we have to attack with Neeko, that gets her to flip, and then on the next turn we can attack again, and that starts to deliver the +1/+1, or if everything would happen all in conjunction. And the answer to that question is it all happens in conjunction. And so we can make this singular attack with Neeko. If that's enough to make her flip, she will also grant the +1/+1 to our cards everywhere. Well, I should say our subtyped allies everywhere, all within that same attack. And so that would be kind of brutal. That would be kind of a garbagey champion if she just had to attack in level 1 form to actually get the flip and then attack again later. And so it is kind of nice that it's all combined. And so as we look at these Neeko decks, or I maybe should say as we look at these subtypes matters decks, I think that we're going to be asking ourselves two major questions, right? Number one is going to be, how challenging is it to activate some of these subtyped abilities? And so is it easy to do? Is it hard to do? Do we need to include a ton of subtype stuff? How do we actually go about that? And then number two is, how bad is the deck if the subtype themes don't necessarily come together? And so, to answer that piece one and activating the subtypes archetype, I think it's very important to go out and look towards champions that also have subtypes. And so we mentioned in our initial video looking towards the Bandle City champions and also looking towards the Shurima champions. So in Bandle City, you have the likes of, Teemo and Gnar and all of the Yordles. So they can branch you out into other factions. You don't necessarily have to play Bandle City, but it is nice to have good cards that have the subtype attached to them, so they help activate our Neeko, and then when our Neeko attacks, she should be giving the bonus to our Teemo as well. And so that's why we're partially out here with Teemo today, is I think it's very important for these champions to have a subtype. Thing number two that I kind of have going towards this this idea of building around is, what other subtypes can we include in our deck that aren't just the zoo archetypes, right? So Neeko is going to let us play birds and reptiles and dogs and the like, but ideally we aren't just limited to that. We can come out and find things like Yordle coming from Teemo, and in our deck here we'll have things like Piltover Castaway as a weapon master. And so there's a lot of decks initially out and about running around using the Demacian angle here. And so you have access to elites. There's the elite dog. There's cards like Garen and Jarvan carrying the elite sub tag, or the elite subtype. That's not what we're doing here today, of course, but that's an important thing to kind of keep in mind. Do I have ways to go outside of just the animal archetypes or the animal subtypes to add additional subtypes into our deck? And so today we have the Teemos, we have the Piltover Castaways, and then we also have the Daring Poro as an Aporo in addition to all of these other subtypes. Now, the next question, of course, was how do we actually win these games if this ability doesn't come quite together? And so my kind of problem with running into Demacia or just running into stat-based units is they don't actually just deal any damage, right? We talk about, it seems like just about every single video, right, that your units have to be able to elusive, overwhelm, or rally. And so while if you are playing Demacia, you have access to the rallies, being out here with this P and Z team gives us access to a handful of elusives. And so we're going to have Teemo and Daring Poro on the elusive aspect of the deck. Neeko flips, she also has elusive, and then we have a handful of overwhelms between the Frostcoat Cub coming down as the mother, and then the Bonehide Tritail as a big overwhelm unit. As we're mentioning the Bonehide Tritail, I feel like this card is going to be the absolute key to every single subtype's deck, probably even more so than Neeko. And so this is an exceptionally powerful card, very often comes down as a 6/5 or a 7/6 overwhelm, incredibly important in terms of coming down and closing out the games. And so that's what the kind of major idea of our deck is. We're looking towards Teemo and the Daring Poro and the Piltover Castaway as ways to give us additional subtypes. The way that we can kind of close out these games, regardless of whether or not Neeko turns up, is going to be with the Bonehide Tritail, and then we're still getting good bonuses in the late game from Neeko coming down onto our elusive units. Now, the next thing I wanted to say with this deck is you run into some of these spots in the early game as to where you want to be attacking, you want to get your subtype attacks in, but you don't want your units to die because they all suck, right? And so as we're coming down and playing cards like Deck Hunter and making an attack, it's not a very meaty attacker, so it's probably just going to die. And then the big thing would be something like a Fleet Feather Tracker, as to where ideally we can attack and have it not die, which is kind of challenging to do with these decks. And so this has really kind of led me towards the inclusion of Darken Harp. This is a very high utility card in the sense that we can load it up on a Challenger Bird and get a good quick attack challenge. We can load it up on a Neeko, attack with her and not worry about her dying. And then it's also a way to just kind of chip in some extra damage with an elusive. So lots of great utility coming out of the Darken Harp in the early game, and then it can come down in the late game as the Striatu. Very powerful Darken, also carries the Darken subtype, so it does apply to some of these themes and can get some of the bonuses within the deck. And so the Darken Harp is actually the major reason that we're out here playing P&Z today. I think this is going to be a very interesting thing in terms of having like Vayne Quinn decks, right? To where you're able to have the quick attack challengers with the Darken Harps and the likes there. We don't have that full package here today, but it does have a lot of utility in this style of deck. With that same idea in mind, we're playing the full set of 3 Tufted Web Spinners. Just another very powerful card in terms of getting good challenges out of our Fleet Feather Tracker or letting our Neeko attack a little bit safer. And so that's the core idea of the deck. In terms of the spells, we have a bit of a burn package to help close out the game. If our elusives and our big overwhelms aren't doing it, the Mystic Shots, blowbacks, very common coming out of this era of Eternal, and something we're looking to take advantage of here as well. And so that's the deck. I'm ready for battle, but before the battles begin, you know what we're going to do. We're going to come out and pay that pay-to-win price. And I'm very excited to level up the Deck Hunter. If you're not sure what card to turn premium, turning a card that generates another card into a premium, always a pretty good bet, right? And so as the Deck Hunter comes onto board, he gets to come down and generate another premium. Pretty awesome stuff. Now, there is a bit of controversy out there in terms of what to do. Neeko coming down like face down. Maybe it's with the ambush unit. Some of these weird cards interact weirdly with prismatics, and your opponent can get the option to figure out which card you perhaps have played based on what's prismatic and what's not. My answer to that is just make everything prismatic, right? That's if you're not out here paying to win, what are you really out here doing? And so that's my idea. My thought on the matter is to just go ahead and make everything premium. And we'll get there. You know, as time goes on, we'll most certainly find the opportunities to get more premiums in our deck. And look at this, the Deck Hunter turning right up from the start. And so we're out here against Evelynn Kayle. I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the Darken Harp. I'd like to find more of our high-powered early game. Ooh, that's what we found. This is a pretty strong-looking crew here. With the Neeko turning up and the Bonehide Tritail, we have a nice selection of different archetypes that we can start attacking with here on turn 2. I'm going to go ahead and lead in with the Deck Hunter, see if we can't pick up a nice early game play to go with these. And the Bitsy Lizard is going to be a very common one that we take off of the Deck Hunter or that we take off of the Neeko. It's not too challenging for us to get this single point of damage in, since we are playing all of these elusive units, and then getting the 3-4 off of it is pretty good. We also don't play very many reptiles in our deck, right? We have just the 2 copies of Anoop and Froop, whatever those dudes are called, and so we don't have a lot of reptile action. But this is going to be a pretty decent start. Going to see if we can't drop Neeko and find one that we don't have. We can go with the dog here. That's going to be fine. Should be a pretty safe play coming up against Evelynn Kayle. They're not going to have any good removal spells, right? He might have a hate spike to come in on this thing, but that's completely fine. Now he can't play Evelynn this turn and have her flip. Oh, no, shit, he can. He has that hate spike on board, but I think this is all still well and good. Gonna have a pretty big Bonehide Tritail coming down now. Hey, just another Neeko turning up right away. And so we can go for it, right? Are we going to get up to 6? Hang on. I think we're short. We've got Bird and Cat. That's what's already on the board. Teemo will be 1. No, we're going to be 1 short. And so let's just go with the Bonehide Tritail. Very big bro to throw down on board right now. And then if opponent does drop Evelynn this turn, they should be able to handle her no problem. All right. Squad coming in. Rip Cat. You tried. You fought hard. Look at that. Ain't nothing wrong with a 6/5 overwhelm for 4 mana, right? That's a pretty good deal. I'm not making any complaints about that.
How about we live a little?
All right, who's coming in now? It's a pretty big steam, but I think we'll still be fairly safe in this upcoming turn. Definitely a good time for this Tufted Web Spinner to weaken the steam so it can't kill our Tritail. Ooh, nice. So let's see. Opponent's out of mana at this point. We have Spider, right? We need to, if we're wanting to attack with Neeko, we need to pick up 3 more subtypes. We've got Spider, we've got Reptile, and then it's just going to be a matter of whatever else we can find with Neeko. I think we can play her as a Fae, right? We haven't done this one yet. Sounds good to me. See if she can make it through this turn and get the big attack going. Ooh, Poro turned up. We haven't attacked with Poro, right? We have not. So we've got Poro, Fae, and Spider to give us the flip on this attack potentially. All right, so he didn't do anything to interact. I would like to think that if he had a way to take down the Grandfather Fae would have done it. He's already played 1 Hate Spike, so I'm feeling pretty good about this going. So I'm just going to load up the Tritail. He's our strongest unit at the moment. Let's make him a little bit stronger. Guarantee he survives this combat. He's pretty good. There we go. Pretty cool. Get in here with this big elusive damage. I'm glad this all kind of came together right in the first game. I felt bad in our last video. We didn't really get the Evelynn Nidalee combos going right from the start. But man, this feels good when you get to see the highlight reel of the deck come forth and bring some action in.
You're all mine.
So what do we got? Opponent seems to have a spell. This might be a Hush. No, just pulling it all back. Says that's too much, Bust. That's too much. Your units are too sweet. GG. Oh, and I did, I was noticing on the deck tracker right there, it's only got like half of the cards appearing in the deck. I was curious if these people were even working on the tracker anymore. I popped into their Discord yesterday, and it looks like the main guy is still in there and talking and stuff, and so it sounds to me like they just had a problem with the data, or they deleted their database or something. I don't have the entirety of what went on there. I just basically went in to see if there was activity in the Discord, and there is. The head guy was still out there chit-chatting and stuff, so I hope they're all doing well and such. But interesting space here. The thing I didn't notice with Anura and Fruip earlier is that it just doesn't limit yourself to once a turn. I was in that kind of mindset of Bandle City Mayor, to where Bandle City Mayor only works once each turn. With Anura and Fruip, you can chain off like 2 and 3 and 4 different units all in the same turn. Another reason why it's very interesting and important that we have all of these 1-drops in here. And so we can chain off a bunch of turns to where if we had a Anura and Fruip on the board, we could play a Bird and then play a Teemo for 0 mana each. Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal when your cards cost 0. Alright, Pie Toss rolling through. Not enough to stop us from attacking. Get some of this chip damage in here. And this Fruip, it looks like it's going to be quite relevant. He's going to be Pie Tossing our Teemo to take him off the board. Completely happy with that. That's a pretty shitty turn 3. And so if we're able to add a Nura and Fruit this turn, and the next turn get at least 2 units on the board, it's good stuff. I like good stuff.
Aren't you a weird one? Prepared for anything.
All right, there's our free Teemo. Now, do we think we want to get the Fleet Feather Tracker on board before
A new species.
we get this other thing? I don't think so now.
Furry and
Got that Daring Poro for free. Got 4 subtypes for the Tritail. Maybe we do. Maybe we do want to still get this tracker. Like, Omen Hawk has already done his work, right? He's not going to be doing anything impressive here, and so let's just go ahead and overwrite it. Really kind of go all in on the Tritail. Now we have better challenges across the board. Opponent says, LOL, no thank you. No thank you, Bust does too much. All right. GG. These games are getting hot. We haven't even got to drop the burn on anybody yet, right? We got this burn package in here to finish off these games. Haven't even needed it. I'm thinking about the heat as we're out here in Kansas City. It's supposed to be a nice, cool, and temperate 101 degrees today. Fucking horrible. This dumbass city. I went out yesterday, being outside, and it's just like you just immediately get sweaty. It's fucking miserable. I hate it so much. I love Kansas City. This is a great place to be, but it just gets so fucking hot out here. Do not like that portion of it. It's like I feel like I went outside, I came back in, and then I was just like sweaty for an hour. Just out here getting sweaty, you know? Just getting sweaty. But all right, back into the game. My terrible problems aside, we have an interesting spot here. I think we want to actually go for the units, and then next turn we can Fleet Feather Tracker and Web Spinner, so we get a good Fleet Feather Tracker attack. And so let's do this. Let's just go ahead and add. We could. I mean, I guess we can add in Neeko. Let's see what turns up. Do we want to go with the Fae? I'm leaning towards the dog. I think the dog's going to be the better one here. We don't have any dogs in hand, and these quick attacks should be good. This one is playing the Aatrox 1-drop stack, and so you shouldn't have ways to come in and kill our Puff Cap thing. Now, this is not what I wanted to see. I did not anticipate Jagged Taskmaster coming in. If you're not familiar with what we were wanting to do here, we're wanting to add the bird, and then we were going to make one of his units have 0 attack off of our Tufted Web Spinner, but not able to do that now. Do we just move away? Like, we don't have to attack with the bird this turn. Maybe we just switch into Teemo. We still have a good attack with the Neeko. She's not going to flip this round based on what we have on board anyways, and so let's just give it a turn and get that Darkened Harp onto the bird. And look at this, just going full-on Puff Cap, right? Who knew we were playing the Puff Cap deck today? Who knew? Alright, still short on subtypes. We've got a spider, and we've got a bird that haven't attacked yet. And so, if we pick up another subtype next turn, we might find ourselves able to get this Neeko flipped. But LOL, let's Web Spinner down the Husk. He's most certainly going to want to play more units this turn, and so it's a permanent way to take 2 attack away from opponent. No complaints there. And then what are the chances now? Like, I'm thinking to myself, I like having, the Darkened Harp onto the Fleet Feather Tracker, but what if this turn we say put the Harp onto Teemo? Like, we can be kind of done with Teemo and we have another one in our hand, and just use him to trade away on something here. So if he attacks with the Taskmaster or the Buru Cultist, we can just trade with Teemo, and if he doesn't, we can just slam for damage, right?
Captain's orders. Bullet
Okay.
to the face.
Not bad. Slam for damage it is.
You ain't starving without me. There's plenty of killing left.
Alright, bunch of dudes on board. This dude's all bigger than our dudes, but luckily we have a lot of elusive out here. So we haven't used Cat yet, right? Dog, Poro, Yordle, and then we're gonna get Bird and Spider. Cat does give us 6. Just look for a big unit out of these now. No big units turn up, but the Weapon Master should be good. Probably just want to go ahead and overwrite this cat. Oh, select something to replace the cat. Let's improvise Neeko.
You did one Yordle portal and suddenly geography means nothing.
Alright, so we do need to attack with the spider, but we don't need to attack with the Weapon Master. False. False statement. We do need to attack with the Weapon Master. That'll get us the flip and all the bonuses. Okay.
Big strong Neeko coming through. One, two, Neeko.
Pretty close to lethal.
Not much sport.
I think we're in pretty good shape. Even if he plays Aatrox next turn, we're not at real risk of coming out and dying or anything. Got a little bit of puff caps loaded into the deck. Let's see what we can do. There you go. More elusives turning up. So he shouldn't have any like real way to go over top of us. Like I'm kind of interested in having Neeko stay at 2 health. So if he's playing Make It Rain or something, then she's not gonna die. And then we could come out and just block one more thing. Falling to 5 should be safe against this deck. Curious though. What if we say do this? Let's say we block this other 5/4. We don't get the unit off the board, but that doesn't matter. We're either going to win this game on our next attack or we're going to lose. But with this, if he has some kind of weird card, I don't know what it would be, but if he has some kind of way to get a bunch of bonus attack, we have the option to come in and kill this Jagged Butcher.
Furry and sneaky. I like it.
Alright, the trebles have doubled. Nothing there has elusive. Definitely gonna flip this Teemo in the middle of the attack. Oh, today. Opponent says that's too much. That's too much, Bust. Get that out of here. Alright. GG.
A Vandal Scout leaves no trace.
Ooh, that one was kind of hot, right? Bringing that Kansas City Heat into that one. So dumb. You get days out here, heat index of like 115. Like, if you lived in Phoenix, that's what you kind of sign up for, right? You know, you move out to the fucking desert, and it's over 100 degrees like every day of the year. Fine, that's okay. But I did not know. Nobody told me that when I moved to the Midwest, it was going to be fucking hot all throughout the entirety of July and August. Ugh. The struggles indeed. All right, pretty reasonable start. Neeko turned up again. Nice selection of early game units. It is kind of interesting with Fleet Feather Tracker that it's capable of challenging down an ambush. So we'll see if that comes into play this game, even though we don't have a darkened bow for the tracker. But still good start. I like starting off with these Omen Hawks. Gives us that nice little stat boost to the top of our deck. It's much more important to me, at least, than that getting that singular point of damage in. Tracker should be safe now. It's like with the Shadows in the Brush, if it's the 0 mana flip thing, it's just going to put the flip onto Omen Hawk, and then it's just going to die. If he wants to come in and hook Teemo, that's fine. I don't have any complaints there. So for Neeko, this is where we tend to find the Bitsy Lizard with the opportunity to get 4 health after combat. Never mind. At least Teemo is going to do a bit of work in terms of getting the lizard flipped. How did you get 2 of these? I missed something? At any rate, things are going just fine. Got this big collection of bros on board. I wonder... I mean, he's going to have a good hook onto a Teemo or onto a bird. I don't really care about that. It's just, is 7/6 enough? It's got to be, right? It's big enough to get in front of Nidalee. It's got to be. Rip Teemo. Only attacked with Bird and Yordle up to this point. We attack with Neeko, that's going to give us a Reptile, and we have a Cat. So we're probably not going to be able to get her to flip next turn. If we pick up like an Anoop and Fluke, we might be able to do it. But my belief in the likelihood is pretty low. I think we definitely want to pick up one of these dogs. Grave Companion's probably fine. It's one of the cards I've kind of like minorly considered adding to the deck. I feel like we do get to some of these late games and are just a little bit short on stuff to do. But I think it'll be okay.
Nothing like the great outdoors. Swiftly.
Alright, send in the big dogs, right? Send in the big cats, I guess. Can't call them the dogs when it's not the dogs. So we have Reptile and Dog. We're still one short of trying to get this in. Now here, this is kind of interesting. Do we want to just give up on the cat? This is tough. I'm trying to think if this deck's gonna have any like bonus health combat tricks. I don't think we have to care. Like, my concern with dropping all of this in is like we're so close to getting the lethal, just having like Teemo and almost have another, you know, the Lava Lizard Neeko will turn into an elusive. We're so close to burning the opponent out. But if we come in and blow back and then discard 2 cards and then opponent has a Rite of Negation or they have a combat trick or something, we're just kind of completely boned at that point. So I don't really want to go about it that way. Now this does kind of suck. I think we still just have to attack with Neeko. We can do the Shapeshifter if we want.
They'll never know what hit them.
Let's just send everybody. We're so close to getting the lethal with these burns. And I don't think opponent's going to be able to just kill us next turn. So we have that going for us as well. Kind of a saucy quicksand. Let's take this. We should get to draw a card off of the Grave Companion. We're not going to lose our Neeko. We're just trading one away. I think that's okay. What's this thing? Some kind of ambush? So what are the chances opponent has another one? Right? If we get to come in and just kill this Nidalee, that takes us pretty far, even though we are giving up on 2 burn spells. Oh boy. Squeeze them cheeks, fellas. Squeeze them tight. Like, and the Rite of Negation. Ugh. That's a disaster. That is a disaster. It's tough. Like, I didn't really imagine that they'd be playing both the Ambusher and the Rite of Negation. Well, still in a reasonable enough spot. Say I need something to fix this board, and then Striatu turns up. So no complaints with that.
Oh dear.
We got a Teemo.
Puka puka.
Yeah, that turned around real fast, didn't it? I think I think this is pretty okay. Like, we get to play the Teemo, we get to play the fluffs. Our attacks are all going to be good next turn. We'll get in like 3 or 4 points of impact. I don't know, man. That seems pretty okay to me. Of course, we just draw another Striatu, though. Is it worthwhile? Like, drawing 4 cards isn't bad, but at this point, we're going to be looking to draw burn spells, and we don't have that many left. It's just so tough to pass up on. It's just the value lover in me can't let it go. Hey, Bust, do you want to draw 4 cards? Yup. Alright. Let's get this attack in. We have so many, I was going to say, we have so many ones that we can draw as well just to throw down as blockers in this space.
Come no closer.
Oh, that's juicy. That's juicy right there. I was thinking to myself, what happens if we pick up Teemo's and we can force the Teemo flip because we drew one? That would have been pretty cool.
Love it again.
So the big thing we can watch out for on this upcoming turn is it's a little scary if he's able to hook one of our small units with Nidalee, but we can prevent a bunch of this impact style damage by just blocking and then mystic shotting our own unit. But we'll see if that kind of play comes forth. This will help protect us a little. Get all them bonus stats. And then we just need to not die this turn, right? Then everything will be okay. So it looks like 4 damage rolling through. Do we want to make one of those impact plays? I don't think there's anything we have to worry about. Right, if we wanted to, say, block Pterodactyl with a 2 and then Mystic Shot, I guess double Prowl would kill us. God damn it. Guess we should have done it, right? If we're gonna be dead, then we should have done it. Huh. That's dumb. It's like the thing I was like thinking to myself as that combat was happening was like, this would be a really good place for the Absolver, but the Absolver doesn't exist in this format. And so, like in Eternal, that's something you would most certainly be worried about in that spot and need to make the blocks with those big units. You're probably just dead anyways in that spot though, and so probably should have just came forth and blocked with our small unit and been ready with that impact play. It's not a big deal if we lose out on one of our smaller units there. So. Okay, lesson learned. On to the next one. Up against Lurker. Why are people still playing this deck? It never ceases to boggle the mind why people enjoy this stupid deck so much. But it's here, people are playing it. Let's see what happens. So it's kind of tempting to drop the web spinner, but I mean, he should be a good attack this turn, right? If opponent plays the predict unit, then it can't block the web spinner. And then there shouldn't be any, oh boy, buried armory. There shouldn't be any other like lurk units ready to get in front of him. They're all too small at this point. Hell yeah, Teemo. Teemo turning up like a boss. Rek'Sai already.
Furry and sneaky. I like it.
Just a really awkward hand. So what we're gonna be looking to do is, I don't really care to just take this damage this turn. Rek'Sai will go to wait and we'll fall to 11. Next turn, this thing costs like 3 to equip, right? Right, and so I think we have 2 options next turn, right? We can play the Mushroom Clouds and get a flipped hit in with Teemo, but like I worry a bit about these Sharklings on board. The intent was just to shock blast them both, so he probably can't play a unit and play the equipment. But I guess the fresh question is, like, now that we've drawn the cat, is do we even care? It's going to come down as a 6 attack, so if he plays the Treasure of the Sands this turn, it's just going to be a trade. Ooh, that guy can't block a Fearsome. I don't know about that. This feels really good to me. Alright. Ready to zing it right to the face then, huh?
I love the smell of mushrooms in the morning.
We missed out on the flip. Little whoopsies there. I guess we could have flipped him a little earlier. Maybe we should have not. We should have expected him to just not block there, right? Preventing 1 point of damage isn't that big of a deal. That would make some sense. We got in here. None of these are particularly compelling. Is Rek'Sai gonna flip? He's about to get the big stats. I think we're okay. We just have to block everything. Watch some animations, you know? Alright, so the block everything plan, huh?
And spoil the surprise?
I think I like this. Yeah. Falling to 1. The problem with falling to 1 is if we get hit by blood in the water, it just directly kills us. We have ways to respond if he plays blood in the water, right? I think with this style, we can open with Teemo, get that damage in, and then if he does try and blood in the water us, we still get to respond with the Shock Blast. I think this is just a safer way to do it. Rip puff caps, am I right? Pike. I had in my head, I was worried about that blood in the water coming down, and I was like, oh shit, he's playing Pike, and now he just gets to take the free attack on us. But all right, we're gonna be fine. That's scary. I don't know if I like how we did that one. Bring in the heat, though. Bring in that burn thunder. Feeling that Kansas City heat. It's emanating. Remember, when you play poorly and still win the game, you should immediately start talking trash. That's the way it's meant to be. That's the way it's meant to be. That's what happens when you play Lurk, though. You just deserve it. You deserve it. Out here, back to the Evelynn Kayle deck. Some streamer must have posted a video of this thing. I've been seeing this all over the place. Mega Mogwai video number 1. Evelynn Kayle, is that what happened? I poke in on his channel every once in a while. It seems like he took a break there for a few weeks. I know that he came back to Runeterra for a bit and was looking to take a break from Marvel Snap. I don't know if he was trying to take a permanent break from Marvel Snap or just a little mini break, but I'm pretty sure he's back to the lands of Runeterra, at least for a bit. It seemed very beneficial for him to switch between 2 games. Like it's a tough spot when, you know, it's your living, it's your livelihood, and there's a very big difference between playing a video game because you want to and playing a video game because you have to, or otherwise you just don't get paid. And so to me, at least for him, it would have been nice to get that little bit of a break. But I don't know. Alright, with this one, this is a kind of a tough spot, though. I'm not sure how correct that attack was there, not taking down the elusive husk. I mean, the domination just gives them so much opportunity to pop off if we leave it sitting around on board. Oh, shit. So I wasn't too happy just letting that guy hang out. This dude can be a problem.
Her light still burns.
This guy fucking elusive. That slipped the old brain nugget right there. We've got Bird, Reptile, Weapon Master. We should get the flip off of this attack, right? It's an easy way to tell with the, with the Tri-Tail seeing 5 different archetypes. So we're still in the throes of trying to deal with the Divine Clerk. I think we're gonna be a little bit short. That only says 14. You're really not flipping? We lost our cat, so we don't get to flip? Ugh, fucking disasters. That was a pretty good sunburst.
Never satisfied.
I don't know. I don't know if we're with this clerk. It's tough to say how this would be going if we'd taken that elusive husk away and been able to get this thing off the board faster. It's like as it stands, we have to deal with it fucking 100 times. Can Aftershock it away. Aftershock's a scary angle, though, given that this deck plays a bunch of weird combat tricks. I guess we could have looked to have gone for the old Hextech Transmogulator, right? We could have converted him into a smaller unit and then gotten a block that way. It's just like with this. I guess most of the tricks only deal +1/+1. Right, so it's going to be putting down like a Pale Cascade or that stupid thing they just played that gives a unit a bonus in hand. So maybe it's safer than I was giving it credit for. Here, taking the Pot of Pain. We just need to be dealing damage. If we pick up a good subtype, we can get this Neeko to flip, and she's gonna crash in. Otherwise. See, might be able to get there even without her. Zolani, all the nonsense coming in. I guess it's only a 6/8. That's not as scary as I was giving it credit for. So where are we at? If we put the Fish of Whack onto the Poro, that's 3, 4, 5, and then another 3 from one of these units being unblocked. Okay. Okay, I say. Might as well just hook in the Vora, right? No. Maybe. She can't kill our Neeko. Were we one short? I would have swore that was a lethal. 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's only 8. I got you. All right, we'll squeeze them cheeks. I guess Zolani's at least not close to 16. Not ultimately super scary. Just need to get this Daring Poro in, but there's no guarantees with this Daring Poro, right? I mean, opponent can have Hush. A lot of different things to potentially get in front of this.
Mine is a solemn duty.
Who do we have in here? Good drawer Jarvan, right? We're nowhere near toss, so let's go with this Vanguard Cavalry. particularly juicy play. But we just need to deal 1 damage next turn. I'm curious if we should add this Aatrox. Just give us an additional opportunity to try and draw a way out. So we've attacked with Bird. I think we just want to go Shapeshifter, right? We've attacked with Spider.
Neeko is making her
We'll play Neeko. She gives us a 3rd angle on this board. We just need to deal 1 damage. We have what should be 2 elusives and then the impact off of the Piltover Castaway. And then if he does some bullshit like play another Divine Clerk, we at least still have the 2 answers in the Neeko and Friends. I'm not certain how Lifesteal interacts with this impact, if that's enough to stop it or not.
You messed with the wrong Neeko. One, two, Neeko.
But looks like a good attack to me.
Or is she?
What are we still hanging for? What card have I forgotten? A bunch of stuff coming in. Is going to be like a double hush? Needs a triple hush, right? Can't double stamp, triple stamp. Alright, hush number 1. What else you got?
Give me everything.
Oh my gosh, we're still in this game. Ooh, the hate spike. The hate spike onto the Poro. Alright. We got any puff caps in this deck? What do we got in terms of puff caps out here? Oh my god. I guess we should have attacked with our Vanguard Cavalry. Ooh, this one's just on me. Dead to this open. Maybe we'll draw a Mystic Shot and make everything okay. Nope. Well, did we have enough units to get all the way around there? He blocked 2, so he would have still had the Kayle in the back line. I don't think the attack with the Hearthguard or whatever it was would have gotten us there, but interesting. That was very strange. Nonetheless, good set of games. We can pull this up, talk about it a little bit more. And so again, I'm not like ultra sold on this being the number 1 Neeko deck list. The kind of interesting takes I get out of this is like I really like the Dark and Harp in this format. There's just not very much interactivity running around. One of my major concerns with the format actually was the strength of Samira Fizz, and then adding in a champion in Neeko that doesn't put any spells into your deck, so she's just non-interactive, and then adding in a champion like the Poro King, which is another completely non-interactive champion. And so we're coming out of a format to where Samira Fizz absolutely dumpsters on the non-interactive decks, and it's just the best deck in the format, coming into another format that just offers up a lot of non-interactivity. Even Shurima is historically pretty terrible at interacting with opponents, and so that Samira Fizz aside is an aside, but where it's kind of going is like I wonder about the strength of the actual bird deck with things like Quinn Vane, if that's even still in standard, because I do really like this Darkened Harp. It's given us a lot of opportunities. It's fantastic with the I think we hit just about all the combos with it across this video, right? We got it on Fleet Feather Tracker for quick attack challenges. We got it onto elusive units for just bonus damage, and then we also got to play Striatu and have that going as well. And so it's very interesting the power you get out of a card like this, just coming out and trying to say, okay, well, I have to slam all these early game units onto the board. Some of them are kind of shitty. Let's make them less shitty, and the Darkened Harp is quite good at doing that. But at the end of the day, I think that, you know, you can get a pretty easy takeaway that the real build around and the real deal kind of card here is going to be the Bonehide Tritail. And so whatever you're doing, however you look to assemble your Neeko based deck, the Bonehide Tritail needs to be a part of it. This card is just absolutely super strong. Even giving it +2/+2 on turn 4 is a pretty good deal. A 5/4 Overwhelm for 4. Not the strongest thing in the world, but being elevated above that 3 attack while also having a Overwhelm ability is quite strong. You get a lot of double attacks in this way, even if that's the extent of the card, right? You attack with the Tritail, your opponent blocks with a 3/3, the thing dies, and then they take 2 damage, and your next attack token, they still have to deal with it. And so Lots of real and interesting power there. As far as the rest of this goes, we didn't really get to show off the ferocious fluffs. I knew we drew it in one game that we kind of threw away, but this is another one that I'm actually a little bit more interested in than I gave it credit for initially. It is a very expensive card at 7 mana that doesn't directly impact the board, but I really like distributing these impacts. There's a lot of real value there, and this dude does help our elusives chunk in for that big extra bit of damage. And so as we assemble these boards to where we didn't really get Neeko going and we didn't really get the Tri-Tail going, but we have like a Teemo and a Daring Poro, being able to give them +1/+1 and impact is oftentimes enough to just help us come in and close out those games. And so it's a little bit more interesting than I give it credit for. And I think that, moving forward with this deck, the way I would probably go about it is probably taking Anura and Floop out. They're fine, but I haven't been super impressed with them. It is nice that it is a reptile, and so we probably want to fill in with something that's not really in the space of a subtype that we already have, but I've never felt really compelled to keep it around in our deck, and then kind of go from there. I'm not 100% certain what's available on the rest of the cards, but I do like this bird theme of having the quick attack challengers, and so there is that space of adding in. I was looking to play things like the Swiftwing Flight. I wasn't certain how much of the value type plays our deck would really want, but the Swiftwing Flight and the Double Birds are out there as additional challengers, and there's some other good, cheaper elements that you can fit in here as well. And so, interesting space there. But at the end of the day, I really like the deck idea. I really like how it played out, and I had fun with that one. That's all that really matters. And so, that is going to do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.